We are joined here today by Coach Rea, head men's soccer coach over at Norco College. Coach Rea received his bachelor's degree from CSU Dominguez Hills, followed that by receiving his master's in sports administration at St. Thomas University. Is that the St. Thomas University in Florida, Coach?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, yeah. It was something. I was in between working at Dominguez and
Okay.
on my way over to UCR, where I finished up with the Big West champs there.
Yeah.
I was lucky enough to get it done. I had plenty of time on my hands, so it was something that I was happy to do. So,
Very well. Yeah. My brother attended St. Thomas University for about 2 years.
oh well.
I'm somewhat familiar with the area.
Yeah.
Hey, Coach, as you've seen in the other videos, as I always start any of our weekly coach interviews and checkup, I do a general check. How are you doing with this pandemic? How's the family? Everyone hanging in there? Everyone doing good?
Yeah, like I was telling you earlier, I have a 15th month, and he's going on 3 years old. He's
Yeah.
keeping us busy, running around, and honestly, as a dad, a first-time dad, it's a slight blessing that I get to stay home and be with him, and really just have a great time. So yeah, the family's well. The wife, she's pregnant currently. We got a baby due in
Correct.
November. So we're a happy family right now. Obviously trying to stay safe and stay home as much as possible. But
Yep.
again, we're pretty good right now.
Good. Hey, Coach, let's get right into it. You made your way up all the way to the head coach, first having been a student athlete at Bakersfield. Then you went and played professional soccer over in Ireland. You're, as you mentioned, starting your coaching career over at Dominguez Hills as an assistant coach, and then eventually gained some D1 experience over at UC Riverside. Go Highlanders! I have a couple of friends that went there as well. And now you're the man at the helm at Norco. Can you tell me the process of how you got to Norco and how you ended up at Norco? I know in the introduction of you becoming a head coach, you stated, and I quote, one of your goals is to find a local talent and local talent that's leaving the area. And one of your goals is, besides help the program win, and obviously recruit these young men into staying locally.
Yeah.
Tell me about the process and how you ended up here.
Well, I played at Cal State, Bakersfield. Did 3 years there. Was lucky enough to be on some very successful teams, and along the way, by Joe Flanagan, who was at Dominguez Hill, was kind of the rival to us. He had recruited me prior to Bakersfield, and he still gave me a hard time for turning them down. And he was kind of the one that kind of got me after playing professionally in Ireland. He's the one that kind of reached out to me and give me an opportunity to get into coaching. My family are all teachers. I just didn't see myself becoming a teacher.
Yeah.
At a high school or middle school, and so coaching was kind of like the thing that I really, really wanted to get into, and he kind of opened the door. So 13 years later, I had the opportunity to we moved out here to Laverne from my wife and I, and we were about a year into being married, and so it was a little transition for us. And Tim at UCR also provided me an opportunity to be an assistant there that year. We won the Big West. It just kind of stumbled into an opportunity came for me to take over at Norco. I wanted a head position myself. I wanted to be a coach to not jump around. I'm not one of those guys that likes to jump around from position to position. And I just felt Norco would be the place I get to control and I get to make the decisions, and the good or the bad, take what comes with that. And like you said, there's so much talent in that area. I knew Norco could be successful. There's a guy over at Corona High School, my assistant Ernie Parra. We talked for many years when he was working with me at Legends, the talent in the area, and it just kind of made sense. And lucky enough, Mark gave me the opportunity to be the head coach, and obviously the first year went well. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, prior to you arriving over at Norco, the team was, I believe, 5-10-3. So having an 8-8 record your first year out is, I would definitely deem that as a successful year. Tell me a little bit about your team. Tell me about the makeup of what made this year successful, and I guess in a sense, kind of moving into 2021, which, as you know, there's still a lot of questions how we're going to do the upcoming season. Tell me a little bit about the makeup of your team and how's it looking for the upcoming season.
Well, I'll start off with when I first took over the program. I had to treat it like a new program, not because of the past staff that they did a great job and they worked very hard. I just felt I had to put my own twist on it. My experience of 15 years of college soccer, Division One, Division Two, and I kind of put a culture behind it.
Sure.
I don't think it had a great culture. Academically, they were just over a 2.0 GPA as a team.
Wow.
And so that was my biggest goal, was bringing good character type kids. So I reached out to all my connections as coaches in that IE area that were, possibly had kids eligible to play at Norco. And I just wanted good kids. I wanted kids that wanted to be there, wanted to be successful in and out of the classroom. And the first year, honestly, maybe 4 kids that I had seen personally that I recruited. This is the kid that I want. And the other kids were kids that were recommended to us, or we had them come to a tryout. So it for me, this first year was about culture, and we didn't know what to expect in the season. We didn't expect how the year would go. I knew Chafee and San Bernardino were the powerhouses in the conference. Obviously, it's a new conference, but those were the top teams coming in. And I knew, obviously, with Desert as well, those are three giant teams that we were going to have to compete, and really we just didn't know. So as the season went, out of the blocks, I think we went 3-0, and the excitement was there. The boys believed in what we were trying to coach and relay, and we had a couple little roadblocks along the way. But to be honest, finishing 500, playing Mount Sac in the first round of playoffs for the first time in school history to even get to the playoffs, we considered it a win. Now, I think going into 2020, 2021, we expect more. We expect to win. We expect to compete in the playoffs. But again, like we all know, this COVID is really kind of throwing us, for a spin in terms of the recruiting side, who's eligible academically, everything. So it'll be interesting, but I feel like my staff and we got a good grip of things. We know who's coming back. We know what players are coming in. So I feel it's going to be a good year.
Yeah, no, that's some of the things that we've heard about the program when you came in. It is the tremendous coaching staff that you're going to have with you, people that you trust and people that you're going to work with. And I'm familiar with the soccer industry. I used to work with the San Diego Sockers down here in San Diego. And, it's a small, tight-knit community.
Yeah.
Everyone literally knows everyone. One person ends up here, and if that person leaves, another person takes over. So it's definitely a close-knit family. And doing a little research on you, obviously your playing background speaks for itself. But, bringing a team like Norco to an 8-8 record, as you said, as a new program is definitely something to be commended for. Hey, are there any players that we should keep an eye on that's coming back or maybe coming in this year that we should focus on?
Well, yeah, and I'll kind of, before I talk about individuals, our goal as a staff was to get all the local talent in our area, in our vicinity, to commit to us. And we felt we got 95% of the kids. And that's what's exciting us, is not only are we getting great soccer players, but we're getting local boys. We're getting guys that are going to fight for the jersey, fight for the crest because of the local team, not because they're driving just to be successful in some program. They want to be part of their hometown boys, and it's something that they want to represent while they're getting their degree. So we're really excited about that. One guy that jumps out right away is our goalkeeper. Jose is he's a late bloomer in terms of talent. He came from Chino. He didn't really play for the high school team. He was on the team. Didn't play a whole lot. Didn't really play club. But over the last 2 or 3 years, he's just grown so much, and And I think this guy is a D1 guy, a guy that any program would be happy to have. He's a captain for us. He's a leader. He's leads by example. He saved us so much last year.
Sure.
He kept in games when really maybe our legs were going, or our youth kind of was kicking in. He was the guy that kind of stepped up and made some big saves along the way to keep us in games. So he'd be number one. We have a few kids right now due to COVID are being asked to work for their families and help out.
Mm-hmm.
There's a couple kids in that question mark if they're going to return or not.
Sure.
But I will move to some of the incoming kids. We have a kid, Dominic. He's a center back out of Santiago High School, who they won CIF, played for us at Legends. Just a leader in the back. We have Vincent over at Corona High School. We have Saul over at Santiago. There's a handful of freshmen coming through. They all play together at Corinthians at the youth level, from like U10s to U14s, 15s, and then they kind of separated to do the academy or other clubs, and it's going to be exciting. A lot of them are very excited to play with one another. And so again, in terms of the youth coming through, we have so much. We have a fantastic depth. So quite excited.
Sure, and definitely keeping an eye on your goalie. I know that Coach Gonzalez is over there taking care of him as well, and like yourself, he has a tremendous amount of goalie coaching experience, having played in all over the place.
And Danny's been a great help. He knows exactly what Jose needs. Jose's needs the mental side of the game right now because he's got the physical. He can make saves all day long. But what Danny brings, Coach Gonzalez brings, the experience of he coached Galaxy, MLS, played professionally for many, many years. He sees the game a different way than I would see, because obviously he's part of the position, and so he can kind of relay everything that is going on for Jose, so he knows before it happens what to expect, and I think that's the one development that Coach is going to bring us for Jose. So.
Yeah, definitely. I've heard a lot about him. I know of his name, so it's definitely a great asset to have within your program. Mm-hmm. Hey, Coach, 2 more questions for you. And again, thank you for your time, for spending your day here with us. What's the basic philosophy of your team? What type of athletes do you look for? And what's I guess in a sense, what's your end goal for each of these athletes?
That's a good one. I would start with the culture side again. I was never this world beater of a player. I felt that I was just, one of those players that technically was sound, but mentally I had it. I wanted to win. I wanted to perform on the field. And I think that's what we're looking for. We're looking for guys, maybe not the biggest guys, maybe not the fastest guys, but guys that can play soccer and can technically put a game together. And so that's what we're looking for. We're looking for guys that can understand the game tactically. We can put them in a couple different positions. So that's what we're looking for, but also are there for the team, not just, for the accolades and not just for themselves individually. Obviously, we want them all to go find a Division I, Division II, any high school, whatever it may be. But we want them to look back at their time at Norco, if it's 1 or 2 years, to say, look, I did something for the program. I'm going to leave my mark in a positive one.
There you go.
And we finished this last semester just 2.9, just short of the 3.0 mark. Our goal was 3.0. We were so close to getting it, and then it's just that's the first real semester after the season. It's a massive boost for us as a staff, and it's something that, again, the culture side is what we're trying to push as well. So, and then sorry, your last question.
The philosophy and also the type of athletes. I think you've pretty much covered it all.
Okay.
It makes sense, and I'm glad you mentioned that as far as how you want to move these athletes to the next level. And I think sometimes coaches have a false sense of, I don't want to say they're overreaching, because you obviously want to, help these kids out as much as they can. But sometimes I hear coaches promise players coming in, I'm going to get you to Stanford, I'm going to get you to UCLA, I'm going to get you to all these, big time D1 schools, when, let's see where the kid fits in first.
Yes. And that's,
moving forward.
yeah, no, that's exactly what we try to say is, I have a lot of connections over the years of, coaching in college, and, I'm a director over at Legends FC, and we never promise anything. But one thing we do promise is we'll open doors. It's your job to get through those, and not every coach is going to want you. Not every coach is going to have an opportunity for you. But hopefully we can open the doors that you academically are ready for it and physically you're ready for it. So we try to paint a picture to the boys. If they do the work in the classroom, they do the work on the field, more doors will be open, and up to them after that to take it. And I think in the past at Norco, maybe there weren't enough doors being open and not enough guidance towards those doors. And I think that's the biggest thing right now, is to be able to do that. So.
No, I'm glad. Again, I'm so glad you said that, because like you mentioned, you want to prepare these kids to be ready and qualified for when that door does open.
Yeah.
Oh, and I'm glad you mentioned that. Hey, lastly, Coach, during this pandemic, ever since we've been shut down, we've started learning, things about ourselves. We started figuring out ways how to do things differently. What's the one thing that you've learned or have grown to appreciate more during this time? And also, if you have any messages for your student athletes that's coming back or coming in, what would that be?
It's made me a lot hungrier. It's made me think, like, without soccer, it's like, wow, my days are not the same anymore. Stepping on the field with the kids and, yelling and screaming, demanding, and, seeing progress. When you don't have that, you kind of sit back and think, wow, I have a pretty good life. And now that when it's taken away, it really, leaves a little gap or a hole. So I don't want to take things for granted. I'm happy to be the head coach at Norco, and when I go back, I'm going to be even hungrier to be successful, and I kind of want to hope the boys are the same. I hope when they're all itching to get out there, like, they're texting me all the time, like, hey, coach, can we get on the field? Can we do this? And they just can't do it. And so I know the kids are going to be very hungry to get out there and win and be successful. But I hope they look at themselves and say, wow, if I don't do things right in the classroom, if I don't do things right on the field, I may not have another future in terms of soccer, And so it's a good wake-up call for a lot of these guys, that it's just not going to come for granted, and I'm going to have to work. And if I don't, then obviously I may not play in college, and I think without COVID, a lot of these kids would have just taken it for granted that they were going to go play at a 4-year school.
Sure.
And I've told a lot of them online, when we're doing Zooms or something, this is the time to do the work. This is the time to put it in, because maybe some other kids may not be doing that, So staying fit, working on their technical ability, things like that. This is a great opportunity for us to realize, like, what we're missing. So
absolutely, and it's funny. I literally just had a conversation with a mentor of mine, and with everything being delayed and being pushed back, there are going to be those people that will complain about that. 5-6 month delay, or then there'll be the people that'll take advantage of that delay and use it as an advantage in order to better themselves. And I think you hit that right on the head.
Yeah, as a coach, I've done a lot of, sitting at home doing a lot of tactical work and thinking about how my team should be set up and lesson plans, and just trying to figure out the game from a different angle. And I think the players also should take this time to work on their technical game, the stuff that maybe they don't spend enough time on. And if it's an hour a day, if it's 45 minutes a day, if it's 2 hours a day, whatever time they have, which they have a lot of right now, it's something that, and I tell our youth kids, it's not really for the actual technical side, it's for the mental side. It's to know that, hey, look, I put in the time, I'm ready for this, and I think this last season, we went into play in Mount Sac, and we were scared. They may not have shown it, but they were nervous. They weren't used to the moment, and I think when you put the time and energy into the craft, and you're ready for that moment, your body kind of takes you to a different place. And I know that as a player, I remember spending hours and hours on the wall, striking balls, hitting balls. So when that moment did come, I was able to take it. And I think from what I've seen from the boys doing their trainings right now online, I think they'll be ready. So
that's awesome. Well, Coach, I appreciate your time. I know we've been trying to schedule this over the last week, and our schedules hasn't matched up. I've had a list that long from the honey-to-do list, and so thank you for taking the time this weekend to speak with me. I just want to say I'm highly impressed about what you're doing over at Norco. Definitely going to keep an eye out on what you do with this program, and from the sound of things, from speaking to you personally today one-on-one, and also from the things that I've heard about what you're doing over there, you're going to do amazing things over there. So thank you.
Well, one step at a time. So hopefully we'll see you out there, and we'd love to have you come over to our brand new field. They just laid a brand new pitch for the Norco soccer, so we're very excited, and we'd love to see you there.
I will be there, and you know what? One of the things that we're going to introduce this season, which we were going to introduce before the whole shutdown happened, was we are going to do live streams of games.
Oh,
so
great.
we're definitely going to get one of your games out there to be broadcasted.
Cool. Well, thank you again. I really appreciate it.
Coach, thank you so much. We'll talk soon.
All right. Bye-bye.
Okay.